Magic Johnson was an incredibly captivating player. By the time he retired, he was considered the greatest Laker of all time, arguably the most popular sports figure in Los Angeles during the 1980s. We also know how his career ended, well, how it was initially ended. He first retired in 1991, shortly after he discovered he contracted HIV, and it was only a few months after he led the Lakers to the 1991 finals, the first and last meeting between him and Michael Jordan. But did you guys know he tried to make a comeback in 1995? Well, he actually did make a comeback, but there was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes which turned his comeback into a television drama. And it was very polarizing. Many fans loved watching him play, but many others resented him for coming out of retirement. How's it going, folks? My name's Andy, and today we're gonna take a look at everything about Magic Johnson's comeback season in 1995 to 96. But before we start, I'd like to give a shout out to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. Bespoke Post is a subscription club for guys. They help guys travel in style, mix drinks, deck out their pads, and more with unique products and smart advice. Every box includes high-quality products worth over $70 in value for just under a $50 price tag. Their lineup of limited-run boxes is constantly changing and every month is different. If you're subscribed, you can pause it or cancel your subscription anytime you want without any hassle. Recently, they sent me their Weekender duffel bag. It's stylish, durable, compact, and it's the perfect bag for traveling or going out in style. Check the description for more info. Thank you again to Bespoke Post for sponsoring this video. First, let me set the stage for this whole situation. Let's take a look at the years between 1992 and 1995, the time period after Magic discovered he had HIV but before he decided to come back. While there were some negative opinions about should Magic play in the Olympics, as some players expressed their concerns, it wasn't really a big deal, so Magic played for the Dream Team just fine. Afterwards, he would go on tours around the world, spreading knowledge about the HIV virus and ways to practice safe sex to prevent getting it. In 1993, the Lakers weren't doing so well, so they fired their coach and brought Magic on board to coach the team. While it seemed like a good gesture to a guy who brought so much to their franchise, Magic was not a good coach, and he did not even want to coach in the first place. The Lakers would finish the season going 5-11 under Magic and miss the playoffs. In 1994, the Buss family would sell Magic a 5% stake in the Lakers, so he was now a minority owner of the team. Now, as you guys can tell, Magic was still heavily involved with the Lakers organization, to the dismay of some of the players actually playing for the team. Everything was about Magic, Magic this, Magic that. If the Lakers played well, it was because Magic coached the game well. But if the Lakers played poorly, it was the players' fault. This uneasiness would slowly build up until the end of the season. All of the talk about Magic ramped up even further in 1995, when he was seriously considering coming out of retirement to play again, which he did. On January 29, 1996, Magic officially returned to the Lakers. The fans loved it, the world loved it. His teammates, well, they were not as welcoming. When Magic returned, he was the most privileged player on the team, and everyone knew it too. They knew about all of the publicity during his return, and they also knew he had a deal with the Lakers management, that he would be granted an even bigger ownership stake on the team after he retired again. Of course, the organization didn't care because Magic was so popular. He was a walking cash cow and brought in money and fans wherever he went. Nobody was more pissed off than his teammate Cedric Ceballos. For those who don't know who Cedric Ceballos is, he was a young 25-year-old rising star. In the previous season with the Lakers, he became an all-star for the first time in his career. It was his breakout season, his first season as the man on a team. And for a young guy like him, he loved it. He loved being the leader and the primary option, which he could not be in his earlier days in Phoenix. Ceballos also surprisingly led the Lakers to the second round of the playoffs. A ridiculous accomplishment considering the Lakers roster at the time. Nobody expected this young team to make the playoffs, let alone reach the second round. Unfortunately, once Magic arrived, Ceballos became an afterthought. The rest of the team became an afterthought. Stronger and bigger, Johnson was still a gifted passer, but he was also a step slower, especially on defense. and adding a strong personality like Johnson's to a young team like the Lakers proved to be volatile. Cedric Ceballos, a star forward with the Lakers, left the team for several games, and those close to the team said Ceballos was unhappy about his diminished role since Johnson's return. I went back to look at the numbers and it looked like it was true. From the beginning of that season until Magic arrived at the end of January, Ceballos was averaging nearly 24 points a game, which was on track to be his career high. But then after Magic joined, his scoring dropped to 18.5 points a game. His minutes also dropped from 36 to 30.8. Throughout the season, he started to not care. He skipped 2 games, he missed some practices and shoot-arounds, his status of co-captain of the team got stripped, and then after the season ended, he would get traded. Apparently, it was reported later that during the time he went missing, he rented a houseboat in Arizona and just chilled there. For the rest of his career, he was not able to repeat the same success he had with the Lakers. Around April of 1996, Nick Van Exel, another rising star on the team, saw his usage plummet after Magic joined. One day, in a very heated game with bad calls all around, Van Exel bumped into a referee and he was fined $25,000 along with a 7-game suspension. When something like this happens, you usually expect your teammates to have your back, but that wasn't the case. After this incident, Magic publicly said to the media, "It's inexcusable. You just don't do that. Now you're going to have to sit the rest of the season. Just when I thought we were smart, and then wham." It was a very condescending way of talking about his teammate, and despite being a player, Magic still had the mentality of an executive or an owner. The funny thing is, Magic himself also got suspended a few days later for doing the exact same thing. He bumped into a referee, he was fined $10,000 and got a 3-game suspension. Keep in mind, this was near the end of the season, with the playoffs just around the corner. Ceballos was unhappy and nowhere to be found, Van Exel and Magic were serving their suspensions. The other 2 major players, Vlade Divac and Eddie Jones, who were initially excited about Magic joining them, were now standing awkwardly to the side watching everything go down. They refused to talk to reporters about how they felt about Magic or the situation with Ceballos. And by the time the playoffs started, everyone was scrambling. But even with all this drama, in the 32 games Magic played, they went 22-10 and finished the season with a 53-29 record. That's still pretty damn good. In the first round, the Lakers would match up against the defending champion Houston Rockets, and the Lakers had home court advantage. However, Game 1 would be a pitiful performance as the Lakers managed to score just 83 points, commit 22 turnovers, and shoot 35% from the field. After the loss, Magic would criticize his coach, Del Harris. Now, at this time, Harris was only in his 2nd year of coaching the Lakers, and he did pretty well the first year, gaining some praise around the league. But with Magic on the team, the pressure was a lot higher. Magic said this to the media about Harris. "In the first half, he didn't want me to post at all. In the second half, he said, 'Okay, now post.' Now, wait a minute, I'm used to posting. Now he doesn't want me to post, I'm wavering. I'm going back and forth, it's a real weird role for me to play when I'm used to something different. Then I tried to turn it on and then it wasn't there." Harris replied by saying, "If he perceives a change, then that's what he thinks. I think Irvin gets frustrated. He's accustomed to winning on a consistent basis. I think he gets frustrated when he loses like everybody does. It would have been better if we had Irvin all year, it would have been better if he hadn't been injured, it would have been better if he hadn't been suspended. So we've had to kind of work him in on the fly. We're doing the best that we can do to work his game into the team game. Everybody is trying to adjust to him." As always, Magic got the last word in and responded again. "You have to get a clear understanding within the game. When you make adjustments, you've got to make them and tell me beforehand. Not within the game, because then my mindset is one way and I have to change all the way." It was clear that Magic was doing some backseat coaching and that he still thinks the team revolves around him. Ultimately, the Lakers would get knocked out by the Rockets and Magic announced his final retirement during the summer. Looking back, this 1995-96 season was considered the bridge between the old Showtime and the new age Lakers, as Shaq and Kobe arrived in the same summer Magic retired. It was almost like a passing of the torch. We've seen superstars try to make comebacks before and it usually doesn't work out too well. When you have a guy as accomplished as Magic, there's always going to be a power struggle within the organization. Younger players might feel uncomfortable playing with an all-time great who just came back, kinda similar to the Michael Jordan situation with the Wizards. This situation with Magic was pretty much the same way. Many years later, the Lakers tried to integrate Magic back into the organization, naming him the president of basketball operations. And well, we all know how that went. And that's all, folks. That sums up the story of the 1995 to 96 Lakers. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I'll see you next time. Peace.